Hey everyone, this is Zan, and welcome to Total War Warhammer, where we will be playing as the High Elves. Actually, this is still going to be Dominion 6. We will be playing the High Elves. This is going to be the Warhammer Fantasy mod created and handcrafted by Sombre, and we will be using a map imported by this guy, who I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. So these both of these, the mod and the map, are available on the Steam Workshop for Dominion 6. I have no idea how balanced they are, how balanced the nations are at all. I played only a little bit of this in Dominions 5, and I figured I'd give this a shot. Why not? So I've chosen the High Elves just because I think they're neat. I did a few test games on how to expand with them, and I made a pretty basic looking pretender. I didn't know to what level I wanted to use like a Titan or a size 1 pretender in the Warhammer Fantasy universe. It just didn't feel too right. So I just went with some imprisoned immobile. Got myself some nice scales because, elves. Learning on the map, I did choose to go with the cold scales, and that may bite me in the butt later. Maybe, I don't know. Just because to get off my island, there's a lot of water connections that are quote unquote river connections. There's no actual underwater on the version of the map I've chosen. But yeah, so those are kind of the scales I chose, and then I took a very basic bless where I just give a lot of reinvigoration and a lot of hit points because I don't plan on using too much or too many of the sacred infantry units that the nation gets. I mostly want to use the mages, and I'm realizing that most people probably don't know what the roster might have in Dominion 6. And maybe as I encounter the other nations, I can try to, flash the roster up, maybe talk about them. But I'll be honest, I just don't know the Warhammer lore. And then I don't know the faction strengths and stuff kind of in Dominions. So I'll take a minute here and just kind of glance over the roster for the High Elves that I'll be using, and at least the way I plan on using it. I'm sure there's probably many, many ways to play the nation differently. So, from left to right, they have a lot of expensive units, and it's kind of odd because it's almost as if the units are going to be sacred without being sacred, because they will have an expensive gold cost, but then half the upkeep. So this one cost 15. You'd expect them to have an upkeep of about 12. Instead, they have an upkeep of 6, which is pretty cool. So it's kind of encouraged me to have a large standing army because they're kind of pseudo sacred in terms of their upkeep. But regardless, their troops overall tend to have really high magic resistance, great attack defense skill, low strength, and very low hit points. And good map move. And that's just kind of like across the board. Like this is their line holder, which, great attack defense skill, flimsy kind of armor, and I think, and just low hit points. But again, they're cheap upkeep. So overall, my at least early game plan is going to be using these War Lions, uh, because they are not flimsy. I mean, they have fair protection, a lot of hit points, 2 attacks. They're very, very fast, and at least for expansion, I think these are going to do the best for me because, well, they don't cost resources and they're just going to do well, right? The other units I would probably use are going to be the White Lion of, I'm assuming, Krace. Again, 30 hit points, kind of pricey, but pretty good stats overall. Has this White Lion Cloak, which is actually a shield, which is pretty cool. Formation Fighter, Bodyguard. They hit really hard, they hit really accurately. Pretty solid. You can only get 5 a turn, but that's okay because these first turns we're just going to be recruiting these lions, right? There's also over here a War Lion Chariot. And this is actually pretty cool, I guess, strategically, or how the unit is designed. Because essentially this chariot is just 2 War Lion guys, like the same one as the infantry unit, and then 1 War Lion in the front. And the cost, I think it's 5 gold more. And I guess the only difference really is going to be the map move is pretty high. And the War Lion itself is going to get this light scale barding to give it a little bit more protection in the body, not the head. The downside to it is going to be that if any of the, I think if any of the crew die, it has to go home and replenish. I'm not certain, and that does kind of suck. Should the charioteers be slain, the lion will continue to fight on and can be deployed as a war lion after the battle. So something like that. The actual infantry get the mounted boost though, and that puts them up to 19 defense, which is pretty cool. That's kind of my early game plan, unit wise. They also have this really cool Eagle Claw Charioteer, which is like an artillery piece. But unfortunately, because the map I chose doesn't have water, nothing is considered coastal, and these are coastal recruit. So I will not actually have access to these with the ballista bolts. A little unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is. Outside of that, I like their archers with the longbows are good. I like the Lothern Sea Guard that is a spearman with a bow, but you know, obviously the trade-off is going to be they're 30% more expensive than the other guys. I'm not too much of a fan of these like ranger type units because they're like extra flimsy. They're very expensive, and then they'll die to like short bows. I mean, they have some air shield, but maybe they're better in practice. I'm not sure. The Silver and Guard is like more heavy armor spearmen, but they have a magic weapon, and that's definitely worth noting. One thing I do remember of my time in Dominions 5 playing this mod was that the demons have a lot of invulnerability attached to them. So, worth keeping an eye out for this guy. I know there's a huge discussion between whether to use the White Lion of Krace and the Swordmaster of Hoeth, and in the current, I guess, implementation of the units, I don't think I would recruit this almost ever. I mean, maybe to supplement these guys because they do have a recruitment limit. But the Swordmaster of Hoeth is cap only, and the White Lion is not. So I'm not even sure there. Cavalry-wise, they have pretty okay ones. I mean, this guy's really, really expensive for what he does. He's like a horse archer dude. Having a supply bonus is useful. So they cost no supply, actually. Okay, I mean, that's... And they're stealthy. Okay, so that's pretty cool. That's a good use case, is that they cost no supply. Oh, no, no, no. They will cost 1 supply because of the Elven Steed. But okay. Okay, that's still good. That's a use case, you know? Then they have a Silver Helm, which is like your traditional knight. I mean, honestly, it looks the same as a regular knight from Dominion's universe. So that's nice to know. And then they have the Dragon Prince, which is about 30% more expensive, but it's going to come with hella better armor, both on the unit and the mount. And they're going to be fire resistant. So at first thought, I think I want this to be my primary unit for some reasons I'll talk about later. They also have a Tyrannoc Chariot here, which is fairly unimpressive to me. I don't want to recruit this almost ever. And they have a Sacred. The Sacred is really good. Like, I mean, it's resistant to things. It has awe, and it has good stuff about it. But I think 50 gold for 9 hit points is scary to me, even if it's elementally resistant. So I don't know about that. So my original plan was not to use them. They also have a Sister of Avalorn, and I would, if I was going to use a Sacred, I might lean more toward this, sort of, because this bow attack is really damn good. It's essentially flaming arrows for free. But they run into almost the same problem as the Phoenix Guard, is that it's 55 gold, 9 hit points, and they have even worse armor. I don't know. I don't feel confident about that. And I know I'm paying 65 for 10 hit points here on the Dragon Prince, 50 for 9 on the Silver Helm. It is what it is, right? But at least this guy has really heavy armor and fire resistance. And he's mounted. And the mount itself is super buff, very good magic resistance for a horse, good protection, good hit points. It has stats on it. They're not notable, but it has them. And then mage lineup wise, or I mean commander wise, I guess they have commanders. They command. That's important. Yeah, they have commanders that do things. The important one, I guess, would be this Lothern Sea Guard. He can sail, sailing good. Max size 5, so he can bring cavalry, but he can't bring chariots. I don't know. I guess most of these would be like kind of thematic, right? More than anything. Prince of Calidor, pretty good leadership. Same stats as the unit, or probably better stats than the unit, but notably the commanders have real hit points, real boy hit points, so that's good. They have a priest. It is a priest and does priest things, and then their mage lineup is fun. I think it's kind of it's both wide and tall at the same time, which is kind of funny. They have a Harathoi mage, and this is essentially just a research monkey. And it's kind of expensive. It's the only non-sacred mage that they have, and it has the one job of sitting in a lab and researching, I think. Which is, that's cool. That's nice. Then you have the rest of the mages, and all these other guys are sacred, and they all have jobs, right? You're going to recruit them with a purpose. So we're going to have here the Dragon Mage of Calidor, which my first thought is going to be recruit a lot of these guys. They are slow to recruit. I think the rest of the mages are all slow to recruit, mind you. They're all really expensive, but this guy is going to have more hit points than the rest of the mages, and decent armor. All of them being Fire 3, Air 1. They can protect themselves like Air Shield and do fire evocations, which we already talked about. The Phoenix Knight has fire resistance, which is good. They have Combat Caster, which is neat, means they have less chance of being interrupted. And if things do get into melee with them, they have really good melee stats for a mage. And they can possibly still cast spells in melee, which is cool, right? So that's going to be like, to me, this is my workhorse mage at first sight. I could be wrong. They have Stormweavers, which it's kind of the same role as a workhorse mage, but instead of fire, we're going to do water and air and astral with a bunch of randoms. Importantly, they can also sail. But for, I guess, grunt work or like, battle mage positioning, they go back to being very flimsy, no armor, very low hit points. In Dominion 6, we can fix this now. A lot of items give you hit points, which is good. But, yeah, so they're a bit flimsier, but they're going to bring different types of magic than the Calidor mage will. The High Mage of Hoeth, it just does magic things. Same thing, fire, air, astral, some randoms. Same issue as the Sea Captain. The Priestess of Isha. This is the other one that I would think to use as a battle mage. And I know that they are also flimsy, but hear me out on this, right? The Calidor mage cannot bless himself. He is sacred, but has no blessing. The priestess can bless him, which, perma bless, it's going to be reinvigoration and hit points to make them die less. The dragon mage has fire resistance. The chosen troop that I want to use, the dragon prince, has fire resistance. So she can actually bark skin them. And even though I'm doing fire evocations, hopefully between the native fire resistance, the bark skin doesn't, go against it or too much. I would have to test it on how it ends up happening, but it should be okay in theory. And she can bark skin herself, ethereal, other randoms. She's going to be healing the army as they move. So I think overall a good deal, right? So I think that's going to be like a nice little synergistic combo for a basic army. It's going to be an expensive combo. Like, look at the price on these mages. You have an Anointed of Syrian. So this is going to be a capital-only thug, essentially. It's got the good hit points. It's got great stats. It comes with everything you want your thug to have by default. We have Fear. We have Awe. It's Sacred, Holy 2. Resist everything. Fate Weaving. When they actually get into combat, they have Twist Fate. It doesn't show up here for some reason. But in combat, they also have Twist Fate. They're just really good, and this Ceremonial Flame attack has a Area of Effect 1 armor piercing, so it's like a firebrand almost. It says 0 here, but this is actually going to scale with their strength, so it's going to hit for a 12. So it's essentially a thug with crappy armor. So eventually we can fix the armor thing, but not at the beginning. Regardless, we're probably still going to recruit them to help expansion. There's a Handmaiden of the Everqueen, which, it exists. It's only 240 gold, but I don't know. A Smith Priest of Vol, which is convenient. They have Master Smith 2, which is that's very rare. And then they have 3 different randoms, so I think I want 1 of each random and then call it a day for forging purposes. Yeah, 1 random each. The air random is probably going to be the most important to get you a Staff of Elemental Mastery. I guess the water random can also do the same thing, right? Then the other capital only mages, these last 5 are capital only. Is the Lore Master of Hoeth, and this guy's pretty pricey, and he doesn't want to forge, and he doesn't want to do rituals. Essentially, I would just use him as a site searcher right at the beginning, and then maybe I need some specific crosspath magic to do stuff. But my first thought when I see this guy's like, yeah, he's just going to go site search everything, and we're going to be fine. That's going to save me a lot of time, right? He's pretty good, though, overall. I feel like we get these paths on the other mages, right? Like the Air 2, Water 2, Astral 2, that's the Storm guy. Fire 3 is on the Kalidor mage. I mean, Earth 1, Glamour 1 is good, and I don't know if my other mages get that easily. Okay, we get Earth through the Isha mages, not through the Stormcallers. What about this guy? Okay, this guy can get Earth too. I guess having him be a guaranteed Earth mage is very important. Earth magic's kind of clutch, especially in Dominion 6. I feel like it's gotten a lot better. So I guess that would be maybe the purpose of this guy, is do Earth magic if I don't get Earth random Isha Priestess. And then the final one is going to be the Archmage of Hoeth, who's extremely expensive. Has Farcaster, which is pretty cool. This also works in combat, not just ritual ranges. And excessively really high fire, really high astral, sacred air. I think the important thing of this guy is air glamour is really strong, but I think this guy gets that too, right? Yeah. So essentially my capital mages, I'm not too impressed, especially for the early game because they're so expensive. So that's why I'm just going to shit out these Anointed of Syrian guys because they're ready to go thugs. And I'm probably just going to focus on them for like the first 10, 12 turns, right? And yeah, we've got some heroes. These are the summons, which is pretty much, do you want to put a dude on a dragon? Which is kind of cool. That's, yeah. Dragons are pretty cool. You can have the dragons be separate. This one spreads the minion, which is neat. We can maybe do things with that. Another dude on an eagle, which can be useful if we have like a flying army. The multi-heroes, it's essentially that summon, the same guy. You can just randomly get him depending on your luck. You can get a Griffin Prince depending on your luck, which, I mean, yeah, why not? Fear, good stats on this. Like if you give it barding and like, you can thug this out. And then you can get your Kappa only mages depending on your luck, right? So that's also a good way to get them, or get more of them. And then your luck independent heroes. So these come through an event regardless of your luck. And I'm sure these guys are like I know like this guy's one of the characters you can play in Warhammer, right? In Total War. And actually they probably all are. This guy gives you Death Axis, which is convenient. He's also your best Glamour mage. And this guy's just a dude. He's got a really good axe. Otherwise, he's a dude. And yeah, so that's my impromptu. I don't want to say this is my first look at Ulthuan, but I mean, I first looked at them yesterday, and now here we are today, right? Right, so I'll make sure to add a little chapter in case people don't really want the overview. They just want to go to the action. But I figured I should talk about that. Let's see, we added I randomed the nations that are going to be in here. We have Bretonia, Leia, Skaven Blight, Karazakarak, Bone Nose, which are, I guess these are orcs. Yeah. Norska, Zarnagrand. Oh, Chaos Dwarfs. Nuln, Itza, and Korn. Okay. I mean, I know where some of these places are, I think. I know where Bretonia is. There's no Empire, interestingly enough, right? Oh, no. Nuln. Nuln is the Empire. Okay, so I know where some of these places are. Yeah. I mean, depending on how, like, this series does, maybe I can... There's, like, 3 versions of this map that each get significantly bigger. So this is just kind of like a quickie, right? And we're just gonna little quick run through, take over the world or something. There's thrones in here, and I'm trying to do the same thing where I put the level 3 thrones because, I mean, in theory, they should be harder to take, and maybe people want to see um, how I approach some of these thrones. I just kind of hope that they don't show up in like choke points. That would be unfortunate, right? Pretty cool thrones, probably. Anyways, let's get moving. I'm gonna go ahead and rename this guy to, and I'm not gonna do too much renaming. I mean, we're in single player, right? But I'll just rename to Gripper for Life, my buddy, my pal. And then my scout, unfortunately, due to this map, I wish he had sailing or something. There's not much he can do. So we're just gonna send him out. And for my first turn, yeah, we'll just go ahead and drop in 10 lions. And some of these, oh, let me make sure I recruit Anointed, at least one. And then the rest of these guys. And we're good to go. I mean, well, I could do like another archer, right? Woohoo. And there you go. That's a good first start, right? Apparently some of these nations are marching out on their own. And I think what I can do, if I'm quick and I remember enough, maybe I can pause it while the turn is rolling, save you guys some time, right? Okay, so our start is okay. I would actually like to go straight to the Gaian Vale. It's got all good resources, it looks like. But I would be concerned that I don't get my Dominion spread anywhere else and then I get stuck on there, and that would suck. That would be a restart right there. This one over here, Shrine of Loic, doesn't look too densely populated. Yeah, like those glittering towers, not ideal. We're just gonna jump all this together. Do you get morale boost? No. So we're gonna just jump all that together and head over here. And this is just gonna be hold and attack closest, hold and fire. This guy can do like a Sermon of Courage and then attack. Honestly, we'll move this guy back and move the archers back a little bit more. We have formations, which is convenient. He'll just do Divine Blessing and spells. Or stay behind troops. I mean, he's pretty 24 defense skill. Like, he's pretty beefy, but I'll keep him in the back for now. I'll let this guy go tank. And since we're on the second turn, I want to actually double up on the Anointed and then do Lions. Which, you know, could be bad. Could be not bad. I don't know. Let's spend my resources. Get 4 of those. 1 of those. There you go. And just keep looking around. So the island, I did 1 expansion test before. I did 2, actually. And it's kind of like you get 1 army to run around the outside of the island. You get 1 army to run around the inside of the island. And then you actually get a second army to go. So if I'm going right first, I'll have that second army go left or something like that. I think that'll work that way. Unless I got stopped by like a... Okay, I think I hastily paused there. I was saying unless I get stopped by a throne, right? So we'll just see how this works out in practice. I mean, this is super trashy army. Oh, shit. Well, super trashy army that just happens to have a Cloud Mage, but it's only an Air 1, so... And he just used his gem casting Mist form, so that's fine. We don't really have magic weapons other than this guy's, like, Fire Torch. These badass sprites. That Sombre... Sombre guy that made this. Crafted all of these things. I don't know why that 1 archer's going in melee. I think they're pretty fantastically well done. But yeah, the lions just tear up the light infantry. This guy is just going to walk up to the archers. And archery is kind of like how you kill him, at least early on, because none of these stats matter if you get shot in the face by an arrow. Oh, he's going for the commanders. Deleted that guy. He's going straight for the commanders. He is not going to waste his time fighting the rest of the units. Just instantly ends the fight. Pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, this group, is there an archer? Yeah, there's an archer in there. That was the problem. Okay, so that's a lot of barbarians, and I don't want to do that just yet. So we're actually going to send this army to do the inner circle. We'll have this guy add these as reinforcements. Actually, keep that as, like, guard commander. Come up front, like the other dude. And yeah, let them do their business there. Now the other armies stack up on those lions. We should be good here. Kind of scouting it, just, you know. The PD isn't necessarily Warhammer-esque, but your PD actually is. Because it's one of the things that we added is, so I won't have access to independent mages unless they come through sites. But I do get foreign recruitment in my roster, and so does everyone else, right? And one of the things this does is that this makes sure that the AI armies they're going to remain thematic most of the time, which is pretty cool, I think. Let's go ahead and end turn here. All right, and on the next turn, I probably realized I should have the floating background next time instead of this black screen. Someone finds the Veil of Infinite Horror. Everyone gets horror marked. Great start to the game. We have a new famous hero with battle prowess, which is pretty cool. Yeah, that's another thing, is that recruiting a lot of these like torchbearer guys, these anointed of Assyrian early, compared to just like making mages and leaving them at home, is they're going to tend to get a lot of experience coming to battle like this. And even without the heroism plus a lot of cavalry, they will start taking up a lot of space in the Hall of Fame. The only thing I wish they would do is like wade through my units to get to the front, but you know, they're small. This is gonna look pretty painful, actually. That's the heavy cav went straight in. Yeah, the lions are kind of meant to kill crappy infantry, not knights. Fast forward through this. This is the easy part now. Okay. Well, how'd they do? Yeah, so like the two anointed got the most kills. We lost a lot of lions. I don't know how much this... Well, we still have all of the... I guess they're both lions. So the war lion... We lost a lot of war lions. We kept the white lions. I think this could probably continue. Unless there's an absurd amount of heavy cavalry. This can probably keep going. So this guy got the battle prowess. So he has 18 attack skill now. Pretty good. And they should be fine going forward, right? On my capital, I have no money, apparently. Let's set these guys up with the war lions, and let's keep making anointed of Assyrian. Let me... There's a bunch of settings you guys always want me to put on. So let me actually do all that now. Okay, so I've gone ahead and enabled the animated background, the map movement little icons, and the Dominion candles in a province. Just because I know that they're asked for things, and then once I get into combat again, I will enable team-colored squares. Because, man, I even saw a post on that in on the Steam threads, or the Steam discussion board, right? Of how much nobody really does that. And it's honestly just because, at least I forget. I'm assuming the other guys do too. 3 glamour gems. Okay, same formation. We have the heavy cavalry. Hopefully they go straight into these guys, because awe and fear and really good stats. They can blunt the charge without dying. Doesn't look like it. I mean, the other guys blunt the charge for them, and then they just come in and wipe out the cav. Because of that area of effect attack, right? Look at that. Just cleans up the squares. It's literally a firebrand. That's honestly what it is. Does it need a hit? Extra effect. So whether it hits or not, as long as he swings the weapon and doesn't get repelled, it will do the area effect. Burninate the countryside with him. Pretty good. Pretty good. Oh, wait. Team colored squares. I have to get into battle to do that. Team colored squares. Okay, and hopefully that stays on, like, forever. Because I will forget, and I was just talking about it. Ooh, I can maybe skip the barbarians and go outside the circle. Huh. That sounds dangerous. I could potentially do that. keep these guys going inside. Or maybe have my third army go through the inside and then deal with the barbs later. Yeah, let's try that. Let's go back outside the circle. Recruitment stays the same in here. Actually make more. Have more resources. So I guess this is where I would recruit more, or these Swordmaster of Hoeth guys, right? Realistically, I can get the Phoenix Guard. I'll just stick to the Swordmasters, right? The upkeep, they're kind of sacred, but not really. And yeah, and the main thing is that their combat speed is similar enough to the White Lions that they'll kind of march together. And then the Scout, again, I can't really do anything with the Scout. So yeah, let's move on from there, and we'll do this one more turn and call it a day for now, right? We're about 30 minutes in, and this is about that time. Let's watch these battles. So again, this is just like this starting army, but this is, I mean, that's a lot of short bows. But I should be okay. I hope. Don't want them getting hit by those arrows, but they have a lot of hit points, so I guess that's the saving grace. And you see, like, the War Lions and the White Lions together just completely destroy the independent troops. Not even close. Over here at Val's Anvil. It's more garbage, so nothing big. Oh, but I don't think I have any of these guys actually casting Blessing. Oh, wait, maybe one of them did. Okay, that worked out. And the Lions just delete those squares. Absolute monsters. And now we have a very precise one. Oh, we have an enemy candle here, so that's... Oh, no. Well, that's not right. I thought because I always was spawning in Ulthuan that the start positions were placed correctly. Nuln is, that I know is the Empire, and that's supposed to be like... No, not there. Here? I would say. Maybe somebody else is there? I don't know. I guess they're over here now, so we'll take it. We'll fight them early, it doesn't matter. I kind of want to jump into the middle at Val's Anvil now. This army by itself could probably go. Why don't you just do double Servant of Courage, you do double Blessing, and then attack? And you guys go this way. Okay, Tori Resri 1, we'll go to Torikare. Okay, this guy, yeah, he's kind of stuck there. Yeah, these guys got to go together. And yeah, so this will be a new series. I just wanted to try something new. I hope you guys like it. If you did, go ahead and leave a like on the video. Go ahead and subscribe. Like I say every other time, this lets me know, hey, this is the direction you like the channel's going in, right? So with that, see you guys next time.